Our kids need us now. They need to hear our voices speaking up for them.
To be honest, the like overwhelming majority, I think, just think that you're a weird old bigot. Like, come on, you're at a hate rally right now. This is a hate rally. You're speaking at a hate rally. This is your legacy. This is what you'll be remembered for. Like years and years and years on the road, when it's no longer such a thing to have these conversations with everyone just takes it as normal, like every other form of civil rights eventually wants to lead to. It's gonna look back and it's just gonna be this rally and it'll be like, oh yeah, there was a lot of really bigoted people that just had nothing but pure hatred in their hearts, and they just wanted to oppress children. It's weird. Yeah, no, she was obsessed with oppressing children. This is your legacy. This is what you'll be remembered for. Oh, do you have a link to the rally? Is Matt giving his speech? So 608, maybe closer to 1,000. 1,000 people. I mean, that's not bad. It's not great. It's sizable, but it's certainly not what I would expect the reach of both the Daily Wire, Tulsi Gabbard, and Matt Walsh to be able to pull in a very turbulent anti-trans period of time. Also extremely white, should add that. But, I mean, that probably is the demographic, yeah.
Actually, all of you for coming out here today to show your support for this cause.
It's very old. It's fucking old rally of bigots. Man, I'm sorry, but that sucks. This is gonna age like the milkshake photos, like all the fucking, segregation Jim Crow style photos where it's just like, oof, yeah, look at these bigots. Look at these bigots. Arr, yeah, I belong in the doctor's office with trans children and their parents. Rah, uncle of two here. Uncle of two. Fuck them kids.
Now, these people here, they don't want you to hear what we have to say because they're cowards. They can't engage in the argument. All they could try to do is shut us down and silence us, but it's not going to work. We're still...
Has he debated like a single person ever? Has he ever invited someone onto a show to have any of his beliefs questioned? Because I feel there's people like I can't levy that charge at. Charlie Kirk, for example. Charlie Kirk will just bring anyone onto a show to embarrass him, and then that's pretty much just like, I think he's got like some kind of a fetish about it. But with Matt Walsh, like I don't see Matt Walsh doing the like, so if you're gonna make that claim, if you're gonna be a big old man, and be like, oh well, no one will debate me, no one will talk about these issues, no one will bring it up. You can't do that when you're in a fucking echo chamber. Like this is you're in a snowflake center. That's all this is. It's a snowflake rally.
Still here. We're not going anywhere.
By the way, no one tried to shut him down. People just exposed your weird ass pedophile takes and fucking impregnation takes and the removal of the Anglo-Saxon race. Like this is a fucking white supremacist fascist fucking giving a rally and just let's call a spade. It was the neo-Nazis, not even the neo-Nazis, the actual Nazis who targeted LGBTQ people, who targeted LGBTQ centers, who went after them for being degenerate, who wanted to burn their books and stuff like that, and the literature and the information, to ignore the science and the facts as stuff was coming out. And this is just the modern iteration of that. You got Matt Walsh here just being like, oh, no one will listen to us. We're being silenced.
We're still here. So what is the cause that we are here for? It's very simple. We are here to fulfill one of our most fundamental obligations as Americans.
What? To inspect the genitals of trans kids?
Americans, as adults, as human beings, and that is to protect our children.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, Matt. Sure. You care about them kids. So here's the ways in which Matt Walsh cares for the children. Let me count them. So first off, he was caught on tape, on the radio show recording about how he thinks ideal impregnation ages are between 15 to 17 years old. That's when the women are at their most fertile. Yes, and I say women, I should be saying young girls, but we got that one. We do have his recent contributions to pedophilia and pedophilic conversations. Josh Duggar, the pedophile, he was defending him him in an article that's still up on the Blaze, by the way. That article hasn't been taken down, despite the fact that he has said that he regrets his opinion on that one, because it turned out he would later become arrested for child pornography. So does that one. There's the priests who were caught, of course, raping children, and specifically raping young boys, and rather than stand up for those young boys, which someone who cares about the children you would assume would do, he was defending the priests, the rapists, the pedophiles, and saying that the pedophile priests were in fact, at the end of the day, not actually pedophiles. They were just gay. So this is a gay problem. It's not a pedophile problem. Out of sight, out of mind. If I don't think about this one, it can't hurt me. And then, of course, not directly related to his pedophile defense, but we should also bring up the fact that he has said multiple times that he's completely fine violating the consent of his own children. And he made a joke of that, saying that, hey, what if grandma wanted to like hug my children, would I not force them to do it? Would I not make them do something they don't want to do? Would I invade their bodily autonomy? You're goddamn right I would. And you're like, well, kind of a weird stance, all of this, really, for someone who, again, says that they care about them kids, you know?
If we will not stand up for them, then who will? If it's not us, then who stands for them? The people out there shouting, they're not going to stand for the kids. They stand for victimizing and preying upon kids. So it falls to us.
Get on, you protesters. Badass.
Now, here's the fact of the matter. There is, in this state and all across the country,
hell yeah,
a conspiracy to target
I
and
wonder how many people there were
indoctrinate our
counter-protesters.
children into the cult of gender ideology. A cult which fosters delusion, intentionally creates an identity crisis.
Oh, he's staring down, reading the script, also wearing the sunglasses. I don't feel like you're as comfortable as you would want. You don't get to do the full-on, you know, like Mussolini style thing. You know, like blood alone moves the wheels of time. It's more like, yeah, hold on. Those people over there, they don't care about you. They want you to be part of the cult of transgender ideology, and we oppose that. I'm very powerful.
And young impressionable kids. It's a cult which convinces them that gender doesn't exist, that they have no identity. It's a path to confusion and despair. Now, for years, this has been happening right here
listen to
in
the
state of
chanting.
Tennessee, not far from where we currently stand. As my team and
I'll
I
turn it up.
uncovered, Vanderbilt Hospital got into the gender transition game because it's, quote, a big money maker. Those are their own words. And soon they were drugging and mutilating adults as well as children. Now, let me ask you guys this. As Tennesseans, do we believe in castrating children? Do we believe in that? No.
Oh, you have to wait so long.
Do we
before you
believe
type
in
it
drugging and mutilating kids? They believe in it. We don't. Are we going to allow this in our state? Are we going to do what they want us to do, which is sit back in silence and allow our kids to be victimized? Are we? Now, I have 4 kids, and I have 2 more on the way. And like so many of you, I live every day constantly aware.
Did I get one in? Is that it? Or am I just boomering out? Which one?
Of the world that's out there, of these people who want to prey upon my kids. My kids have no idea, you know, what these people will try to do to them.
We're almost there.
It's not fair. It's not right that our kids live in a culture in a country like that. But here's the thing. I'm not going to leave it to my kids to fight this fight. We don't leave it to our kids. We stand up and we fight. Okay, it isn't our kids' battle, it's ours. And we're not just fighting to protect our kids from mutilation in the name of gender transition. We're fighting that, but at an even deeper level. We are fighting for truth. That's what we stand for. We stand for absolute truth. That's what we stand for, right there. And that brings me to one final point that I need to make. The other side, the side that supports mutilating and drugging kids, they know they have no argument, they have nothing they can say, so they lie. And one of the most ridiculous lies that they tell is that they want to affirm kids. They're not affirming the child, they're affirming confusion. They're affirming despair.
Yeah, this is live.
That's what they're affirming.
I'm a little behind. I just missed Matt's part. Is Cersei on right now?
Our next guest, senior counsel at Alliance Defending Freedom.
Boy.
Oh, we just missed Tulsi. Oh, she's Tulsi. Very
Title
quick.
IX. Title IX was created out of a recognition of the biological difference between men and women, and we as women have had great opportunity and advancement because of it. Where we are now today, though, is those in power are denying the existence of women. They are seeking to...
No one is doing that. No one. Not a single person. Not even trans women. Trans women acknowledge the difference between trans women and cis women. And they have different lived experiences. And they experience different forms of oppression or misogyny or patriarchy or trans misogyny. Like there's no one is saying that they have the same lived experience, because that doesn't make sense, Tulsi. Then that would invalidate the trans people even exist at all. Do you understand what you're doing? It's so very bizarre. Like, you use terms that are so strange and antiquated that just try and vilify people. It's like, biological male, biological female. They won't ever say that there's a difference. And it's like, well, why don't you just want to learn anything about this?
Erase us as an entire category of people. And even more dangerously, they are denying the existence of objective truth. Without recognition that there is such a thing as truth, there are no boundaries in our society, which is why we are where we are today. Who is suffering as a consequence of these actions? It is the most vulnerable among us, our children. That is why we are gathered here today, to stand up for our kids, to be their voice, because our kids are having their childhood stolen from them. I think there are a lot of you who are here who may be able to relate. Women here, I grew up a tomboy. I thought the boys were having all the fun. I cut my hair short. I wanted nothing more than to be a boy, because it was cool and it was fun. But guess what? Life moved on. I moved on and I grew up. I cannot imagine the kinds of pressures that are happening with our kids today, with our young girls who are tomboys. This is what...
Like, you realize you're just making everyone's lives infinitely worse. Like, I love that tweet. I think it was Chad Loader who did it, where they were like, the kids in like younger grades do not understand the bigotry of the adults. They're just like waiting for all the bigoted old people to like die, because like they're just like, it doesn't make sense to them. To them, it's the most normal, natural thing in the world that if someone's like, hey, can you refer to me as they, them? They're like, oh yeah, sure. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. And then meanwhile, you've got this where it's like, I think that I have a place inside the bathroom with your kids. I think that I have a place inside the doctor's office with your children, and inside the gym inspecting their genitals to make sure they're playing on the right sports teams. I think I should have a say in that. It's important to me to interject myself into the conversation with the healthcare of you and your children, and I want to make decisions for your children against their will. And it's like, whoa, all right.
What's at stake here? We have people who are undermining our parents, using the threat of the rule of law to take away their right and responsibility to raise our kids, forcing compliance and trying to silence those of us who are here to speak up and fight.
She does seem like she's happier, though, I think, you know, because like she did have to live again, hiding all of those layers of bigotry. I mean, she did have to eventually apologize for those pretty extremist anti-LGBTQ stuff. But then there was the aspect of perhaps she did grow up in a cult and her father was incredibly anti-LGBTQ. But like at the end of the day, she's better. She's obviously, she's a progressive. She's a Democrat. She's anti-war, totally anti-war. And also, yeah, she's for things like full LGBTQ equality. I just saw that interview that happened recently. It wasn't years ago. It was actually like last week by Glenn Greenwald, who interviewed her and then was like, you're for full LGBT equality. And she was like, yes, which is 100% a lie. She's going to hate rallies. She's actually going to hate rallies with Matt Walsh to do fucking hate speech, you know, along the lines of like, we should be the ones in charge of your children's health care. We have been told a lie. I used to be a tomboy, but I grew out of it. And so trans people therefore do not exist. I have proven it. The science is fucking impervious.
For our kids. Our kids need us now. They need to hear our voices speaking up for them.
Be honest, the like overwhelming majority, I think, just think that you're a weird old bigot. Like, come on, you're at a fucking hate rally right now. This is a hate rally. You're speaking at a hate rally. This is your legacy. This is what you'll be remembered for. Like years and years and years on the road, when it's no longer such a fucked up thing to have these conversations with everyone just takes it as normal, like every other form of civil rights eventually wants to lead to. It's gonna look back and it's just gonna be this rally, and it'll be like, oh yeah, there was a lot of really bigoted people that just had nothing but pure hatred in their hearts, and they just wanted to oppress children. It's weird. Yeah, no, she was obsessed with oppressing children. This is your legacy. This is what you'll be remembered for.
They need to hear your voices of courage. Your voice of...
Looking at some pictures from the rally, the protesters are mixed. Well, I can hear the protesters are mixed. Like, I would, if you have footage from, like, on the ground. Let's see. Post Millennial has a video. Breaking protesters become triggered. I'm so triggered. Oh, nice. Footage of, like, protesters. Oh, hell yeah. That's a lot of protesters. What up, friends? Hi, comrades. Well done. Good job. Good job. Yeah, seems that's quite a few of them. Normally, because there's like a separation, you know. There's like, okay, so the fans of Matt Walsh and Tulsi Gabbard and all the transphobes, you can be in this section, and then we're gonna bar off the other section, and then we'll put the opposing protesters on the other side. But yeah, I thought that was originally a crowd for them. It seems to be a lot of protesters. Fascists, fuck off. Gender affirming care saves lives. Gender affirming care saves lives. Good night, alt-right. Hell yeah, look at all this shit. Man, the kids are all right. Well done. Well done. Seems to be a lot of protesters. Fuck off, fascists. Hell yeah. And the ones fighting back, obviously, younger generation, because they're like, we already get this. What's wrong with you old people?
of truth. Exercise your right to free speech. Exercise your voice and cast your vote, because who in power matters. There is so much at stake here in this next election. It is nothing short than our freedom, the safety and security of our kids.
Our freedom? You are at a rally to limit the freedom of children to have health care. That's what you're doing. You're standing there trying to prevent kids from having health care. You're gonna fucking advocate for something that can dramatically make children's lives worse, that can increase the rates of suicidal ideation as well as depression, anxiety. That's who you are. That's your legacy now. This is what you're about. Own it.
Kids and our families and our future. So don't let anyone silence your voice. Don't let anyone push you to the sideline. Stand up and speak out, because our kids...
Man, who saw this coming, you know? Tulsi just speedrunning to going full fash. I mean, yeah, there's definitely no writing on the wall. Not the support for Bashir al-Assad. That certainly wasn't indicative of anything. Oh, and Modi, of course, who is, of course, in his own way, committing a fascist extermination of Muslim minorities in India. So that one's probably not something you should be supporting too much. But yeah, I mean, here you are. I know you're getting to fulfill your legacy and just going after trans kids. Good stuff.
Kids, their well-being and their lives are what's at stake. Thank you.
Thanks for 100 biddies, the Dank Engine. Lance, I'm a huge fan, fellow Canadian. Could you comment on why left-leaning media rarely ever covers Asian American issues? Even during the height of the Stop Asian Hate movement, I feel like the AAPI folks are invisible on the left. I'm sorry to hear that's a sentiment. I certainly would agree with you that there wasn't as much coverage during some of the worst parts of the like dramatic rise in hate crimes towards Asian people in Canada and the US, that there was coverage. I think there was, like, I wouldn't say there was no coverage. Like, obviously Majority Report did their one video, TYT did their one video. There's like examples of that, but it wasn't something that was like consistently talked about. I think what was talked about way more was just the increase in racism towards Asian Americans under Trump, especially once COVID started. There was a lot of discussion about that. That's what I felt was way more aptly covered. Maybe it was because it had something to do with Trump and people covered Trump so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Stand strong. Keep fighting. Aloha.
All right, please welcome our next guest, senior...
That was it. Oh, wow. Did you get paid for that? You probably did. I'm guessing this whole thing is sponsored by like Daily Wire or some other fucking, head bigot. But that was a fast paycheck if you were paid. If you weren't, and that was just pro bono, also a fast donation of your time. I don't think they limited you, Tulsi. You were the headliner. You were the biggest name. I'm pretty sure you would have had the ability to speak if you wanted to for what, 20 minutes maybe, instead of what? How long was that? I feel like she really phoned this one in. She started at 13:45. Went to 10:31. So, like 4 minutes, under 4 minutes. That's your speech. Hell yeah, make that bag. And then everyone else is a fucking sideshow, right? Oh wow, you look like you are in the middle of something.
Ban these surgeries in the libraries themselves.
So I intentionally having to film from the left side because I guess the right side is where the counter protesters are. I also noticed a lot of the signs are handed out, like overwhelmingly. Like these are all printed signs. I mean, this could be a separate group, but the do no harm, keep kids first seems like they were just Daily Wire signs handed out. But it's nuts because the Daily Wire is putting its full-blown fascism into action. Like, as much as we laugh at all these clowns and fucking say how base it is that there's counter-protesters there and all that kind of stuff, this is just 100% fascist rallies done by a channel that is promoted on YouTube and promoting hatred. Like, the entire thing is centered around involving themselves in the healthcare of trans kids and trying to limit the amount of healthcare trans kids can have, specifically to marginalize their lives and make their lives harder. That's what this is. It doesn't matter if they have nice logos, doesn't matter if there's nice fonts, doesn't matter if there's professionally printed material. That's what this is. This is 100% what this rally is doing and is promoting, which is really fucked up. This rally of mostly like white dudes.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.